What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Raw Recovery, the community. Today's guest is someone whose story carries weight, resilience, and real transformation. I'm honored to introduce Ishmael, a Caribbean American father, person in long-term recovery, mental health advocate, and founder of Fatherhood Development Corps. Ishmael's journey didn't begin in the rooms. It began in complexity, growing up between Flatbush, Brooklyn, and Long Island, navigating identity, family dynamics, and manhood as a black man in different spaces. He started using drugs and alcohol as a teenager, and from the very beginning, it became a struggle. Over the year, his past included multiple rehabs, psychiatric hospitalizations, incarceration, homelessness, and bipolar disorder diagnosis. But on October 28th, 2020, the height of COVID, everything shifted. That's his sobriety date. And since then, he's built a life rooted in accountability, therapy, faith, community, and an active member and participant in AA. Today, he is a present and involved father to his 16-year-old son. He co-parents with intention. He lives a lifestyle of recovery. He is pursuing graduate work towards becoming a mental health counselor. He serves underserved communities through his nonprofit. He's part of the Hope House community, skis, practices yoga, and reads history and psychology in his spare time. He plays chess, and he values loyalty and keeping a tight circle. Most importantly, he is grateful to be alive and sober. This isn't just a story about addiction. It's about identity, fatherhood, mental health, and what it means to be a black man healing out loud. Welcome to the show, Ishmael. How you doing today, sir?
I'm blessed and highly favored, Danielle. Thank you for having me on your show, Raw Recovery. It is a community, and I know God has a way of working, and I'm just trying to submit my will to Him, and hopefully my story can touch just one person.
Sounds real good. And again, I appreciate you coming out. It's not the best weather right now. We're wrapping up February, so you trudging your way through the weather to get out here and share your story with the community. It means a lot to us, bro.
Well, look, tomorrow is supposed to be a blizzard. So again, God works in mysterious ways.
Right.
We got in right before. And Black history is every day. So
That's a fact. So tell the people a little bit that I didn't get to share. Tell the people a little bit about yourself. I mentioned briefly about your nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with that?
Yeah. So Fatherhood Development Corp, that came into being out of something that I needed. It was a foundation for my recovery. It came into being in 2018, and I got sober in 2020. The whole purpose, even this, is to help somebody, right? And help someone that looks like me, right? We're not represented in mental health properly. I believe if I had someone that looked like me, had my experiences, I may have been helped a little earlier and kind of spared a lot of struggle and pain. However, I do know that struggle and pain is my gift that can help someone else.
Respect. So with everything that you just mentioned that you got going on, and now that you're into your 6th year of sobriety, if I were to have met you about, say, 6 years ago, what's one of the first things that I would have noticed about you?
That I was broken.
Break it down for me.
Before October 28th, 2020, I could recount a little story. I was in a manic episode. Again, I have a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, so when it's untreated, I can have highs, manias, and my desire, for my addiction, for my drug of choice, which is one of them is marijuana. I drove from Florida to Colorado because marijuana was legal at the time, right? It wasn't legal here at the time. So my desire was so strong, right? That addiction was so strong. You just imagine driving 21 hours straight to Colorado with no other purpose but to smoke top shelf weed.
Right.
Right? That's how broken I was.
What did you think your life would have looked like by now? Again, we mentioned the many things that you have accomplished, but as a result of your addiction, do you think that things didn't come into fruition because of it, or that you would be a lot further? Where did you expect your life to be?
Well, I'm a firm believer in a higher power who I call God. And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I was supposed to go through every single thing that I did to get to where I'm at today.
Respect.
So I can now look on my experiences of struggle, of pain as growth, right? And those experiences now I use to help other people.
Nice. Right. Let's say before addiction, during addiction, did you feel uncomfortable in your own skin? And like, when did you notice that feeling of being uncomfortable?
I think I'm still getting comfortable in my skin,
Respect.
right? I believe as human beings, we're constantly evolving, right? I can recount when we actually moved from Brooklyn when I was 10 to Long Island in a predominantly white neighborhood, predominantly white school. That's when I felt other.
Wow.
That was the first time I recognized that I was different, felt different.
And for context, for the people who are listening in, can you give them a little bit about your background, what type of household you grew up? As I was introducing you, I did mention that you're Caribbean. You did grow up in a Caribbean household. So let them know what that experience was like growing up as a child and even teenage years and moving out, transitioning.
Yeah, so I identify as a Caribbean American black male. It's important to know what my identity is, right, and what I identify with. I grew up in I would say privileged. I was privileged. It was difficult. I felt like the roles were reversed, that I got discipline from my mom and love from my dad. I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, but my father was present in my life for my whole life until recently. And I had struggles with my mom early on. And from high school, from 8th grade, you know what? It was when I was 15 or 14, 15, when I was getting my ass whooped, I looked at my mom dead in her face and didn't cry. That was the last time I got my ass whooped. And I felt like a man that day. And that's when all hell started.
It got even worse, you said?
My life, right? I stopped getting ass whoopings. But that's when I turned to the streets.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And life really started kicking your ass.
Life didn't start kicking my ass until I was about 25, right? Because for the most part, I was going through life unconscious.
Okay.
Right? So life was just a series of mishaps, right? How do I figure out how to do this better so I don't get caught next time? Right? How can I outsmart this? How can I outsmart that? my ego grew.
Okay.
Selfishness grew. And all the while, the trauma that I experienced as a kid, I was acting it out outside. The pain that I was feeling inside, I wanted other people to feel that pain. Right? And I found weed searching through my stepdad's things.
Okay.
Right? So even then, that searching, right? I don't know what made me search, right? But I had this thing in me that was just searching, and I found some weed. As a matter of fact, I found a clip, a roach. But I had already smoked, right? Because my first smoke was with one of my sister's friends, and I remember smoking it was a joint, and it turned yellow. And I'm like, what? Turn yellow? So I loved the way weed made me feel, right? It helped me to get out of myself, right? It made me feel good, and I didn't know that I wasn't feeling good, right? And it wasn't until years later with therapy and understanding trauma and healing and healing the inner child to understand that I wasn't feeling good, right? And I thought it was normal. I thought everybody was feeling the same way, right? And I didn't share feelings. That wasn't something I had to learn and grow into, right? The only feeling I felt was anger. I felt anger and I felt high.
Unfortunately, do you notice that with yourself and other men, you guys aren't able to express your feelings? So in the beginning, learning how to express your feelings, how was that, even just stepping into new territory?
Well, today that has changed, right, with years of therapy. But growing up, and I think it's the messages that I got from society, stereotype of the male, maybe even the black male, this macho, you don't cry. And even in the household, right, I couldn't feel what I was feeling if it was not what my mom wanted me to feel, right? You want something to cry for?
Right.
That was the response, right? So I learned to bury my emotions. And in stacking and stuffing those emotions, because that's what I did, just stacked and stuffed. And then I began to use, and it was self-medicating. I was self-medicating, obviously not knowing this at the time. What it looked like was me just hanging out, sitting on the stoop, drinking, smoking, politicking with the boys, fighting, selling drugs, running amok, right? But not knowing that there was things going on inside of me that was not reconciled, that was not normal. And I remember in high school, the principal wanted to send me to an alternative school, but my mom wouldn't do that. And the thing was, my mom was in denial. She was in denial of everything, right? Of everything. I don't fault her, right? I love my mom dearly. Right? She did the best she could with what she knew how. She loved me.
Respect.
And she gave me the love that she knew how to give. But again, and her love was in giving me things, material things, and providing for my welfare, keeping a roof over my head, food, clothes. My pops is where I got the love from.
You mentioned how using different substances used to make you feel. Prior to that, how do you, if you can think back, how do you think you used to cope before using any type of substance? You mentioned a little bit about how you would even just like suppress things or push things down. But for the things that you couldn't just push down before you started using anything, how do you think you used to
Cry.
Mm.
Used to cry. I used to be soft.
Mm.
I got an older cousin who's like my older brother. He hardened me up, but before I was a softie, right? I cried.
Mm-hmm.
That was how I got the response that I needed, right? Which was either consoling or leave me alone, right? He's crying, so now he knows. Or he's crying, let me console him, right? And meaning he knows is, oh, he's crying, so now I know what I told him is right because he's crying and he's feeling whatever and that transferred to me in my previous marriage. Well, my only marriage that is a failed marriage, you know. We had a counseling with this pastor, and I said, yeah, I like to make her cry because then I know she understands me.
Oh, wow.
Right? And all of this stuff is from what I learned growing up, you know? And a lot of this healing and recovery process is unlearning a lot of behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, habits, right? So recovery is my lifestyle. It has allowed me to become the man that I am today.
Respect.
And to uncover the things that I'm talking about. Right? Because these are the things that is how I heal. I have to face them. I have to go into that dark place.
Come on.
And get my little inner child and console them and, hey, it's time to grow up now. Come on, it's safe out here.
Unfortunately, we do lose a lot of relationships when we're suffering, when we're still in our addiction. Do you attest the fact that things didn't work out with your wife due to your addiction? And honestly, can you think about the many relationships, like friends, families, the relationships that your addiction played a part in dismantling?
Well, as I look back on people who I thought was close to, right? Like the intro said, I got a small circle, but none of them includes anybody that I grew up with. A lot of those friendships were transactional, right? What could I do for you? What you could do for me, type of thing. My marriage, part of it was growing. We grew apart. We had different co-parenting. We had different parenting styles, which I appreciate. And I tell her, it was great that you took our kid and left because I was going to raise him up the same way that I was, with physical discipline. You know, make you cry, because that's how I know you learning. That's how I know you know. It's going to just transfer that generational trauma, right? Just keep transferring it. And she wasn't having it. Right. She bounced.
Respect.
But that also coincided with my diagnosis and the using, right, was self-medicating, right? So even today, I need to be medicated. I just do not use drugs and alcohol. I just don't smoke. I don't drink, but I have to take meds. I have to take antipsychotics, mood stabilizer, antidepressants because of the disease that I have or the uneasiness, the discomfort, right? Or the high energy, right? That I don't know how to control. I've tried to fail every single time, to either end up in a psych ward, 7 psych ward stays, countless jail stays, ended up in the hospital in a coma for 3 days, got jumped in Brooklyn by my grandmother because manic episode, drinking, smoking, hanging out with the wrong people, behavior, right? Got jumped. I got hit in the head with a whatever I got hit in the head in the bottle with. I was out for 3 days.
Wow.
Right? Woke up in the hospital with my family around me. My grandmother saying the Al-Fatiha over me.
Say that again.
My grandmother over me saying the Al-Fatiha, which is the Muslim prayer.
Okay.
And that's how I came to.
Wow. First of all, I want to say thank you for being transparent about the fact that you had to seek help, and in seeking help, taking medication. We had an episode previously where a young lady spoke about her mental health and how she was afraid to reach out and work with a psychiatrist. Men, as we just said, don't speak up as much. How was it for you accepting you had to take medicine and even having that conversation from the beginning? Were you gung-ho? Because like when you're someone who's trying to get sober, you're literally willing to try anything to get sober. Like when you hit your rock bottom, you'll literally tap into any resource. So were you at your rock bottom when you decided to get help in that way?
So mental health is not looked upon properly in the Caribbean community. We tend to overlook it and say that it's other things. It's just how this person is. And I believe, as I look back, that I may have been exhibiting these traits, mania, depression, in my teenage years, unmedicated, and my high school teacher, and what was going on in high school, the behavior wasn't normal. But I thought it was me hanging with the black people, right? Because I had to learn this American way of being black. Because growing up in a Caribbean household, my dad's Caribbean, my mom's Caribbean, my stepdad's African American, but he was like a square for me. And I was like, that's not what I want to be, right? And I patterned myself off my cousin, right? Because he's obviously West Indian, but he grew up in the street. You know, his mom is wayward, if you will, addict, alcoholic. And he grew up in the street, and he grew up rough and tough, and he made me rough and tough, and that's who I wanted to be.
Got you.
Right? So mental illness is a co-occurring disorder with substance use. Right. Most people that got a substance use problem have a mental illness. And like I said before, I was self-medicating that. Right? And now I even go deeper that it was a spiritual malady, right? My program of Alcoholics Anonymous that I practice today tells me that there was a spiritual component to this, and we'll get into that. But to ask for help, no, for the pain of staying the same had to be greater than the pain of staying the same had to be greater than the pain of change.
Respect.
Right? Because if I was staying the same, I wasn't accepting my diagnosis, right? Because when those 3 days in the hospital in the coma, I woke up to the white coats. That's how I got diagnosed. I woke up from a coma to only get diagnosed at bipolar disorder and put in the psych ward unit and medicated. And just that feeling alone of being told that you have a mental illness, right? The stigma behind that was like, nah, Nah, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
Right? So taking medication, no. I'm going to continue smoking and drinking, not looking at what's really going on inside. Right? It was hard to look in the mirror back then. It was a lot going on, right? With the relationships in the family, the relationship with my ex-wife, and relationships are a telltale sign of what's going on with me, right? So today, right, my relationships, depending on what's going on, my relationships is where I'm at mentally.
Okay.
So there's people in my life now that is aware of what I deal with and can help me recognize signs.
Got you.
But just to answer your question, yes, using mental illness broke a lot of relationships. Some for good, some for meaning good for my benefit. Unfortunately, my son had to grow up without his mother and father in the same house. And I felt that I was a failure because of that. Because I didn't get that. I wanted to give him that. And me and her, we were together since high school, since 10th grade. We were together for like 17 years. But a lot of those years after we got married, something happened when we got married. But the mental illness, right, came, substance use only reinforced the non-acceptance of having a mental illness, needing to take meds, right? So it was a constant cycle. Constant cycle.
I hear you. With the constant cycle, when one does get sober, what would you say some of the hardest emotions that you felt like you had to sit with from the things of your past? What are some things that were hard for you to face on a daily once you got sober?
Well, the hardest thing to face is, and still is sometimes, is the relationship with my mom, right? Because there's still some unresolved trauma there, right? Hurt feelings, fear. I feared her. That's what the corporal punishment is about, instilling fear. But they don't know what that does biologically to us and biochemically in our brain. You know what I mean? Like, being humbled, though, right? Life humbled me, right? The Lord was working the whole time, right? He's always on time.
Respect.
And I had to go through everything I went through to get to where I'm at today, right? And that's to be able to share my story, to hopefully help someone else, right? To let them know that there's courage in asking for help, right?
Respect.
You can ask for help, and it's not a sign of weakness.
Very well said.
That's another stereotype. That men don't ask for help, that men don't feel, men don't cry. Make sure to tell my son that. Share your feelings with me.
Come on.
Right? Because I couldn't do that growing up. In the household that I grew up in, you couldn't tell how you felt. You seen but not heard. Right? So even today, developing the language to say what I'm feeling is difficult. It's a whole process.
But, respect to you for, again, breaking these cycles, as some people call it, breaking generational curses, things of that nature. Because, as you were saying, we love our parents, we give them grace because as adults, we're putting ourselves in our parents' shoes, but we do want to try to break a lot of the things that were done to us so that it doesn't get passed on to generation after generation. Because let's just say your son started to feel some of the things that you were feeling. At least he has a safe space to come to you and speak about it, as opposed to being, because I know exactly what you mean about like sometimes being afraid to even say how you feel. How are you afraid to just say how you feel when your home is supposed to be your safety net? So again, whatever you're doing to instill in your son that it's okay for a man to talk about it, I want to say, hopefully that he's hearing you, because it doesn't just stop in the home. Like, even if you're instilling that it's okay for him to talk about it, the world still doesn't really allow men to express themselves. So whenever you were hanging with some of the people in your past, you were saying that you used to hang around some of your cousins who were teaching you kind of to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you wanted to get sober, was it hard? Did you think were you more afraid of losing those connections and letting them go?
Funny thing is, that cousin that I patterned myself after is where I got sober.
Oh.
I ended up at his house.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, one day I'm smoking and drinking with him in the garage. And I was just like, I'm done. Right? This was like a little while, couple maybe weeks or days after I got back from Colorado. And I was so lost. And he just happened to call me and was like, "You coming to my crib?" I'm like, I didn't get invited. He's like, "You don't need to be invited." And like, that was God sending a lifeline to me, like, because I was like homeless at the time. I was living in my car in Florida, out of hotels, right? Because that was COVID time. He was getting his COVID money. And I was getting some when you lose a job and you get unemployment. Yeah. So I was able to fund a particular lifestyle. Right? But not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Going nowhere.
Right.
But I ended up by him. And just something about him, right? I knew that there were things about him that I instilled in me that had to change. And I was able to get sober there. I started my graduate program there. Started getting my life together there at his house.
Wow. Before you made the shift to start getting sober, can you think back to some of your, I guess, for lack of better words, worst times when you were in your darkest places and possibly still trying to hide your addiction? Was there ever someone who called you out and you just couldn't deflect that you were actively using?
Well, I never tried to hide my addiction, right? Because it was weed and alcohol. And actually, I was proud of smoking weed and alcohol. I mean, smoking weed and drinking alcohol. I was proud.
Got you.
That was like a badge of honor for me, right? Because I wasn't the addict. This is the thinking. I wasn't the addict, right? People who sniff coke, pop pills, shoot dope, sniff dope, right? And the alcoholic was the bum on the street, right? That you can't maintain a job and function, right? Not knowing I would end up there one day.
Come on.
Right? But when I was 16, I ended up in my first outpatient, right? I was on pins. My mom put me on pins and my grandmother. People in need of supervision. That's adolescent probation, right? And I had to go to outpatient, right? So from then, there was something wrong.
Got you.
Right? And they knew it, meaning family knew it and was trying to do things. I don't know what they think about that, you know? I just know there's a lot of denial in it. But again, I didn't try to hide it. I was proud of smoking and drinking and prided myself that I didn't do drugs.
Right.
Right. I remember sitting in my first, that outpatient at South Oaks and sitting in a circle, and I'm like laughing, like I shouldn't be here.
Right.
Right. And then, fast forward, I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic.
Come on.
Right. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to turn my life around, right? And have this design for living that gives me actual steps to work to get me to a place of health, a place of sane, because I was insane. You don't do that, those things that I was doing.
Right.
But one thing through my whole addiction, through my whole mental health struggle, I always stayed in my son's life.
Respect.
He was my beacon of hope. He was the face that I would see inside when I was going through hell in that house on Fort Kelly in Central Islip, when I was there by myself going through it. And when I say going through it, I was at my darkest. And everybody's bottom looks different, right? My bottoms was in my house, right? My bottoms, I was homeless in my car. A Mercedes S550, pulling up to DSS to get food stamps and public assistance, right? Mine looked different, but I was going through it in these times. I was going through hell. But my son, and I always tell him, I say, "You my hero."
Word.
Because he kept me going. And no matter what, I would fight to be in his life, right? Even if it was, I had an order of protection at his mom's house, I couldn't go there, I would still go there.
Respect.
Because I'm going to get my son. I'm going to see he fills me, right? Like, that's life,
Respect.
right? That's the gift that I've been given, right? That, that's what forged Fatherhood Development Corp. How do you raise a son? My mom couldn't raise me into a man, right? So part of the system had to. Definitely religion, right? The right way of living. She taught me right ways of things. I'm not saying that, but
No, I get you. Yeah.
life is life. Life gets lifey.
Life
You know what
be
I'm saying?
lifey, for sure.
Life gets lifey.
When do you think you made a shift for yourself that you were tired? No more excuses. Because you've been battling this since your teenage years. And unfortunately, some people are still in a battle. So how about you? What was it for you?
So it's the gift of desperation, right? G-O-D. The gift of desperation. And my bottom this time, right? So hold on. I'll tell you about mental illness, right? So I've been suicidal. I've tried to commit suicide once. When I got suicidal the first time, that was my second rehab and trauma center. I went down in Florida. I had a good job at the time, so I had insurance. So this was like, you got crab legs and steak on Friday for dinner,
Wow.
So it was, got your own room. It was
nice place to be.
very nice.
Okay.
And you did equine therapy and
Oh,
shit,
my.
right? But this was the first time I learned about trauma, right? And we had family day, and my mom comes with my sister, sits down with my therapist, and my therapist is like, which one has trauma that you've a part of? And she totally denied it. That hurt.
Okay.
That hurt. But back to answer your question. I was in my car, right? So I got sober in Florida by my cousin. I came back to New York because I found out that my son thought that I abandoned him.
Oh, man.
I moved to Florida in 2018. I forced my job to give me a transfer. I got an apartment, 2 bedrooms, and he was supposed to come down and spend some time with me. But I wasn't in the right state of mind. I was smoking and drinking, not taking meds, doing a lot of criminal activity too. So his mom wouldn't let him come. Mm-hmm. You know, inside of me, I'm like, I didn't abandon him. I had the spot for him. I wanted, you know, it was your mom's fault. But I can't tell my son that you didn't feel that I didn't abandon you if you feel that. If that's what you feel, right. I got to respect that. Mm-hmm. And I got to take accountability on that. That was difficult because I'm like, yo, I didn't do that intentionally. Right. And I had to think about my mom. Like, she didn't do these things intentionally to make me feel that.
That just clicked.
But hold on. I got to be responsible for that, right? I got to take responsibility because he felt I abandoned him.
Okay.
So I came back to New York with no place to stay. I stayed by my boy. So I was clean. Mm-hmm. I was clean. I was helping my boy get clean. Mm-hmm. My boy at the time, 25 years. He was going through it in his marriage with alcohol and going through it. But I came back to be in my son's life, to do therapy with him and his mom. And that established back a relationship.
Wow.
And I was staying with my grandmother in Brooklyn, always ended up back in Brooklyn, Hawthorne, 402 apartment. That's where I grew up. Mm-hmm. That's where I almost died in front of that building. Wow. But her and I got into a bad argument, fight, and she kicked me out. So now I'm living in my car, and all of this time, right? I'm in an online graduate school, right? Taking this graduate program. I'm interning at a mental health location, hands across Long Island and Central Islip. They partnered me with Rutgers University to get so I got my peer certificate. This is so I could have worked with the population, right? And then I ended up training the courses that you take in order to get that. Oh. Right? I got that through an internship.
Okay.
I'm pushing Fatherhood Development Corp. Through my grandmother, because my grandmother believed in me, right? Where do you get credibility from when you trying to start something, right? You got to get credit. You got to have credibility. I had no credibility, but my grandmother was she got currency.
Right.
And she introduced me to people, and I started speaking in different places, nice. At a church, at a nonprofit, to different people she got me in front of. And all of this, right? And then I end up homeless, and I'm still trying to do all of this, right? Because now I'm living in my car and I remember the night I was also trying to get my Medicaid transferred from Florida to New York. Mm-hmm. And that was the whole process, right? So the system is, right? And yeah. I just remember sleeping in the car that night, and it felt like my spirituality got zapped. And depression immediately came on me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no, not this. Mm-hmm. Because after every mania, I have a bad depression. Right? The mania is not sustainable. For me, right. I haven't learned how to, and I don't know if I ever will. Mm-hmm. But I could do so much. Right? And that's the thing about mental illness. I could do so much in these manias, but it becomes unstable. Right. And then when I eventually crash, I have all of these things that's going on that I can't attend to. Wow. Right? So I had to come out of school.
Becomes too much, overwhelming. In a sense.
I just can't do it, right? Because I physically can't do it. Yeah. I may be in a psych ward.
Wow. That was deep.
Right? And again, the gift of desperation and how God works through one of the ladies who was interning with me. She got me to a shelter called Pax Christi, and I went there looking to get. I gave up on life. I said, I'm going to apply for mental health disability, right? I'm going to apply for spa housing, which is like Section 8 in Long Island. I was done. I was done with life. I said, I'm not doing this again, right? Because this, remember, I just got, and all the while, I haven't picked up, right? So the first step of Alcoholics Anonymous says, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, over many of things I'm powerless over. But the second part of that is what was now that I had to get control of, which was that my life is unmanageable.
Okay.
I, of my own doing, cannot manage my own life.
Right.
And that was proof that drugs and alcohol wasn't the problem.
Wow. There you go.
I was the problem.
There you go.
The problem was up here. And that was proof. Because I hadn't picked... Through that, I was holding on to that. Because I said, I got this. I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting that go. But I still ended up homeless. Broken. Depressed.
Right.
Like, what?
Yo, that's so important for you to put that out there, because just because we are in our sobriety, it doesn't mean that every day is about to be sunshine and us frolicking in flowers and having a great day. When life, we just said earlier, when life is ready to be life, and you just got to be ready. And that could have knocked you off your square. What do you think in that moment stopped you from picking up again, even though life was hitting you with everything?
The understanding that it only got worse.
Come on now.
I had enough
runs with this.
I just had enough of maybe clean time or playing the tape right. So I had AA in my life already, right? I had AA in my life. I was taking my friend to AA. So there's a saying that says, it's hard to drink, right? Have a beer full of belly, a belly full of beer with a head full of AA, right? Once you get some of this recovery, you know, it's like seeing something. You can't unsee it. So now you're going to get high and drunk with now this recovery thing playing in your head.
Can't even have fun.
No, it's going to be even more torture.
Right.
All right. So, yeah, I that was like my badge, though. I'm sober. I'm holding on to this. And I hold on to that still today. That's my sobriety. Without that, I got nothing.
Come on.
You know, I had to have this conversation with my girlfriend, though I kind of used it in not a right way. But I said, anything I put before my recovery, I'm going to lose.
That's fair.
That's true, though.
That's real.
Right?
That's a very fair and real statement. You know what I'm saying? And speaking from experience, if I pick up, that means I lose my job, which essentially means I'm going to lose my house. Like, everything has a trickle-down effect, and it all starts with me picking up. So I'm not sure how that landed with whomever you might have said that to, but that's a very fair and real statement. Like, I can't even keep you in my life if I start using. You know what I mean? Because I can't even manage healthy relationships when I'm in my addiction. Addiction literally destroys everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before you changed everything, and you were still messing around with your drinking and smoking and things, what lie were you telling yourself? And for how long did you tell yourself?
That I was a rapper.
Uh-oh.
That I was a drug dealer. That I was going to get rich.
Come on, 50 Cent.
I was living life like it was a constant music video. Right. The lie that things would make me happy. that people would make me happy. The lie that God wasn't real, that money was God. All of this thinking goes with my use, my drug use. Now, I'm not saying that I can't be a rapper without using. I just won't try it. I'm not going to say that I can't be a drug dealer without using. But having this program, I can't do that. My principals won't allow me to do that.
Wow.
Right? Because I can't give... Funny. That takes me back to selling crack when I was a teen to one of my friend's fathers. I couldn't sell him crack because I felt for... Right? So from then, I should have known that. Right? That wasn't for me.
This ain't my life, right? This ain't for me.
Right?
Yeah.
But... And those are the things that I didn't pay attention to.
Right. Those early signs. I got you.
Those things inside of me. I had to learn how to start using this.
Wow.
Because this tells me what I should be doing and what I shouldn't be doing.
That inner feeling inside,
Yes.
for sure. I felt you.
And I fought that for so long. Right? Because that inner feeling was mixed up with fear. Right? That it got polluted with fear. A lot of fear from the house. And I just, instead of running, I fought. I'm not a runner. I'm a fighter. And that's what I did. And that's what I do with my recovery now. Everything that... So, us as addicts, we're resourceful. We're smart.
Come on.
Yo, we could
figure
do
it
anything
out.
we put our mind
Figure
to.
it out, right?
All you got to do is just take that and go in the other direction with it.
Okay.
Right? And that's what I'm learning to do.
Yeah. You mentioned that you grew up with your mom and your dad in your life, and you also had your stepfather in your life. From the men that you had in your life, who do you think you leaned towards most? Who taught you to be what is considered a man? Who in your life at all?
Today, I would say both my dad and my stepfather. Right? I've took qualities from both of them. As a youth growing up, it was my cousin. Yeah, those three figures play prominent.
Vulnerability is not something that even I hear often men using as in their vocabulary. Was that uncomfortable for you at first, tapping into that?
Tapping into it.
Letting it all out.
It's just getting honest. Right? And I had to get first honest with myself. Right? And that meant admitting my addiction, admitting my powerlessness, admitting I had a mental disorder that required medication, full surrender, right? Accountability for my actions, right? Not blaming nobody for what happened to me. Those are circumstances. But I have full responsibility for my actions and what I do as a result of whatever circumstances occurred.
Right.
I can't live the victim role. I'm not living the victim.
You're in your 6th year of sobriety. With that time under your belt, what would you say when you first were getting sober? What was some of the most annoying things that you dealt with? Even if it's just like a saying that kind of annoyed you that you didn't want to hear right then, like what frustrated you? What was like God, I don't want to do this shit like right now. What was it for you when you were first getting sober, still had the monkey on your back?
My cousin's attitude.
Ayo.
My cousin's attitude. But, you know, he'd do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of him I'm sober today.
Respect.
And he uses, right?
Wow.
What annoys me? Nothing. I mean, when I was first getting sober, probably everything.
Right.
Right? I was irritated.
Mm-hmm.
I was discomforted. I was restless, irritable, and discontented.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I had to get God in my life. I had to get this spiritual muscle. I had to work it out. I had to start using it. Right? Because putting down the drugs and the alcohol is not sobriety. Right? Sobriety is a way of life. Right? It's being peaceful, contented, having serenity. And I had to work for that. Right? And I got to swallow a lot. I had to swallow a lot of hard truths. Right? About myself, about other people. Right? Which is what honesty is. You know, they say the first three principles: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. I had to get honest. I had to be open-minded to new ideas and beliefs, right? Because those old beliefs that men don't cry, right? That was foundational. So imagine when a foundational belief gets shook.
Right.
It's like your whole world turns upside down. Now what? You got to replace that with something, right? And that ensues an identity crisis. And I could say that my identity is constantly evolving, right? I could see that now, right? I identify with recovery. I identify with spirituality.
Nice.
Right? In hard concrete, mental illness is where I focus my energies.
Okay.
Because that's more real to the public, right? It's becoming less stigmatized. Men are now being able to get help.
Right.
Right? Hence is the reason why my impetus, my force to become a mental health counselor, right? A Caribbean American black male, right? Who's had equal experiences to the guys out there that's suffering, that don't know it,
Right.
and don't know that there's another way. There's a whole nother way, right? And a lot of them suffer with mental illness and are self-medicating just like I was.
I want to take it back because you said something that was very important. When you're first getting sober, at least from an alcoholic standpoint, your body just feels like it's going in every way, your body and your mind. And it's just like you feel like you want to explode. You feel like you want to run. You want to sit. Can you touch on that feeling for the person who's listening in, who's possibly even going through it right now or even afraid to get sober because they've tried to get sober before and they know those feelings are going to come? Like, for example, the many, many times that I tried to get sober, I psyched myself out just because I didn't want to feel my body. I didn't want to have my brain be clear enough to feel all the feelings that I'm about to feel. And even the pain, even if you're going through like this detox, like it's a very uncomfortable feeling mentally and especially physically if you've been abusing alcohol long enough. Can you talk to the person who is afraid to make that first step?
It's scary, right? The process, right? Because it is a process. It gets harder before it gets easier.
That is
right.
That needed to be said.
It
Really did.
It's not easy. I'm not gonna say by any way is it easy. It's hard. That's why there's only a 3% success rate for recovered addicts, for addicts who's recovered in these rehabs. It's only 3%. Look to your left and your right when you're in there. Somebody ain't gonna be there. You better hope damn well it's you.
Yeah.
You gotta want it,
Yeah.
right? So you're gonna have to sit with that shit. You're gonna have to tough it out.
Come on.
And there's where you get on your knees and you start praying.
Come on.
Right? Because I don't know what that pain of withdrawal is, that physical pain, but I know the emotional pain. That emotional suffering that will cause me to not want to feel pain no more. I want to kill myself because I don't want to feel my pain. It's not that I don't want to live. I don't want to feel this pain no more.
Right.
You got to dig deep. You got to dig deep. You got to want it. You got to want it. It ain't going to be given to you. This thing ain't given to you. This thing wasn't given to me. I had to work for this.
And still working, brother.
It was always.
Yeah,
I mean, I had to work to get to this peace that I have today, this serenity, this clarity. I had to work for that. I had to go through the pain. And there's no way around it. There's no way under it. There's no way over it. You have to go through it.
Respect.
And what I would say is get with the community of support, because you have support. You don't have to do it alone.
Don't gotta, come on, Ishmael. For the person listening in, say it.
You don't have to do it alone.
Say that for them. Say that for the person listening.
We're here. We're here. We have a community. We have the way.
Yeah.
Right? This is just one big game of follow the leader. Somebody figured it out. You don't got to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
Somebody figured it out already.
I love that.
Oh, my 12 step allows me, and it tells me to just freely give what was given to me. Right? And that's what Fatherhood Development Corp is. It's me freely giving what was given to me. Right? Because we need it. And there's people out there that don't know that there's help. Right? And we're here.
Right.
This is what we're doing.
Come on.
That's what the purpose of this Raw Recovery, the community is about. Right? Same thing Hope House is about. Community that I'm part of. Fatherhood, all of these, we're out here.
Yeah.
The resources are here. They may be slim. We may need funding. We may need manning, right? But there is help, right? And there is a God who is of all help, right? So even when you're in your most toughest times, because you know, you get a sponsor, you get a community, but there's gonna come that time when it's just between you and a drink. You ain't got the sponsor not picking up the phone, ain't nobody around, it's just you and a drink. Who gonna stop that?
Oh, Jesus.
Who gonna get between you and that drink?
Come on.
Right? Because the disease is so strong that you ain't got no power over it. Gotta have a God in your life.
Talk heavy.
Higher power. Let me a higher power. A God of your understanding.
God of your understanding.
Right? You could call it whatever you want. I don't judge.
Right.
Call it whatever you want. It just got to be greater than you.
Say that again.
It just got to be greater than you.
Come on.
A God of your understanding that's greater than you.
Come on, Ishmael. Today, do you think you're talking that stuff, brother? With all the jewels and gems that you got, today is it easier to ask for help? Today is it easier to say I'm not okay, or do you even with everything that you've learned, do you still be like I'm gonna hold off on that one? Because you might not even know if people understand where you coming from.
Well, again, my experience now is help.
Okay.
Is that, right? I still struggle with depression. I'm just getting through this seasonal depression, right? Winter times is tough for me. And then now, from the winter to the spring is when the mania comes, right? But asking for help is, shit, it's okay to not feel okay. Mm-hmm. And if you around people that you can't ask for help, then those shouldn't be the people you around.
Good word. Respect.
Right? Because sometimes you got to drop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some people bringing you down. Mm-hmm. Right? Sometimes the people that you hanging with is bringing you down.
Respect.
Right? You need to be around people that want to grow. Mm-hmm. Right? That got to be sober.
Right. Was this at people, places, and things?
People, places, and things.
Mm-hmm.
Hang around a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a cut.
Right on. Right on. Today, you mentioned your community. So you have a specific person. If something was to happen in a moment or so, you have that core person that you're going to reach out to when things are spiraling?
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And how important is it, do you think, for anybody who's working on recovery to have that voice of reason, that person, even if it's more than just one person, to have what we were saying about your community? How important is that?
It's so important. And this is why the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and I'm part of, right? Because you go and you get to know these people get to know you. You start not showing up. Where you at?
Oh, right.
Where you?
Right.
And you start coming and you off. Yo, what's going on? Because they know you. You know them and they know this. And I think that's another thing too. We don't know about community. The black community don't know about it. That's why we do gangs. That's our community. Our family's not. You don't. You know. If you don't. If your family's not healthy, you don't even want to be in that environment.
Right.
And I'm not saying everybody, right? But it's important to have a community, right? The saying is that it takes a village to raise a kid, right? That's what a community is. And when you have that support, right, people will let you know before you know. Okay. Right? You struggling? It's okay. Let's talk about it.
I think that's so important, especially when you're in a community of people who know what you're going through, right? As a person in recovery, they're going to be able to pick up on the little things that people who have not dealt with addiction, and also it just makes it easier because I don't feel as judged. Like, you know what it's like to black out and to wake up in a place that, I mean, maybe not you specifically, but in a room, there's going to be someone who knows that experience, and it just doesn't feel so alone. You know what I mean? Being able to just talk about it with someone who has been there several times.
The first word of the 12 steps is we.
Word. Come on.
What I can't do alone, we can do together. You're not alone. And that's what addiction is. The opposite of addiction is connection. Addiction wants you isolated.
Whoa.
Addiction wants you isolated. It wants you by yourself in your head and got you cornered. That's what it wants. It wants you to feel the pain because then you use to get rid of the pain.
And what would you say are still some of your triggers today?
Triggers. Family.
Whoa.
You
Whoa.
know?
Break that down for me. Because we got to be around our families. Or you know, there's different options.
The people closest to me, right? My mom, my grandmother, triggers, right? And I'm learning. You know, something simple as my mom makes a face can trigger me.
Wow. Okay.
And when I say trigger, I don't say trigger to use, right? Because using is just not an option for me.
Respect.
Right? What I'm talking about trigger is triggering an attitude or behavior, triggering a traumatic response, triggering a feeling of hurt, pain, feeling less than, feeling not worthy, feeling helpless, right? These are the things that I have to work on today, right? Because I was able to put down the drugs and the alcohol, right? Because that was a solution. That used to be a solution for these feelings.
Right.
It's no longer a solution because when I was using, I started still feeling this. So now it's not working, and now I can't stop. Right? That's where the addiction goes and leads. Right? At one time, it was a solution. It was working. It helped me to survive.
Right.
It helped me to survive that childhood.
Got you.
But it no longer is the solution. It no longer serves a purpose. Now it's detrimental.
Right.
Right? And now I could work on all of those things that I stacked and stuffed and used over. Right? That's what the program is about. And you're doing a fourth step, right? Taking an inventory. Right? You sit down with somebody and you share that. Therapies. See my therapist once a week, sometimes twice a week. I gotta listen. My arsenal of help is like it's right. It's that and you could do that. You could set yourself up for success. Right? Just getting part of the community.
Respect.
Get with Raw Recovery.
Come on. Tap in. Tap in. Get in this community because we're here for you. I want to know what you feel about yourself today. How do you view Ishmael? Even when you think about like your past self, because you know with addiction it tries to keep on reminding us the things that we did. But how do you view yourself today?
Just humble, remaining teachable, trying to see God's hand in everything, right? Either God is or God isn't, right? And when you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change, right? So everything that I look at in life now is happening for me, not to me, right? Everything is, and I'm not talking about toxic positivity, right? Because this is toxic positivity that, you know, even when you're feeling bad, you know, you still boasting everything is okay. No, when I still feel bad sometimes.
Yeah.
I still struggle, right? But that lets me know I'm human, and it lets me empathize with someone else, right? It keeps me humble, right? It keeps my ego in check.
Come on.
Because my ego could get ahead of me, and it has. And the higher you go, the harder you fall. And that's been a lot of my experience, right? Get clean, get things back, ego comes in, I got this, use, spree all over again. It's been the cycle. It's my cycle, probably your cycle too.
I'm listening to you, like, putting myself in your shoes, because I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly. It's definitely a cycle. It's just like a what did you call it? The wheel that you didn't want to get on. What did you say earlier that we were? It's just like a rabbit, a guinea pig on that wheel. Like, I just felt like my life was just going in the same circle with addiction, and I just didn't know how to hop off that wheel. Brother, everything that you shared with us, even with your accomplishments, I really wanted you to be able to share with the people about your nonprofit and how they could tap in and reach out and get some services from you guys.
It's a work in progress, right? Fatherhood Development Corp is a each one teach one, right? I've been in Hope House. I was in Hope House for 3.5 years. I'm still part of Hope House. It's about attraction and not promotion. So it's not something that I'll promote.
Okay.
If you know me, or if you want to reach out to me to find out more about it, we could do that. You could reach out to me on Facebook, Ishmael C. Muhammad. Because it's so important to not make it about a brand, a fad, right? This is real, right? And I'm talking about real outreach, going in the streets and helping people, right? Pulling people back from the throes of death, of addiction, of mental illness, right? And allowing people the opportunity, right? Affording them the opportunity, facilitating a way for them to come back into life, right? And it's not something that I take lightly.
Respect.
Right? So it's not something that, again, I don't want to promote, right? I don't want it to be that, right? I want it to be exactly what it is. And that's it.
That's cool. That's cool. You told the people how they can get in touch with you. They can see how transparent you've been and that you know what you're talking about, and can reach out to you whenever. You said on Facebook.
Yeah.
That way. Yeah.
Well, once I get my mental health counseling license, then I would be licensed to clinically work with people, right? But right now it's just mentorship and sponsorship.
Equally needed.
Right.
Definitely. Brother, again, I thank you so much for taking your time.
Again, it's an honor.
Appreciate
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak and share what I got going on. And hopefully, again, it touches some person, and at least something that I said was able to affect change in someone or shift something, right?
Respect.
Transformation.
That's what we're looking for. And for whoever's tapping in, we appreciate you tapping into Raw Recovery, the community, and we'll see you next time. Peace.